Hello, and welcome to Positive Impact for Mind and Body. And I'm back again, never quite centered when I get started, but I always eventually get there. Hi, I'm Nicole Fevrier-Davis. I'm your psychic trainer. And I had alluded to last Tuesday something called the pain timeline. And I love talking about the pain timeline because very often people who come to me for phantom pain issues, they don't know why they felt this pain or this suddenly happened to them. When I do the psychic readings and I do a little bit of an analysis, it's very clear where the origination of the pain came from. So I just wanted to share with you how I go about doing that and give you some cues and tips, about how to handle pain specifically. I think many of us, we were raised in a generation that, pain can be controlled with over-the-counter meds and maybe massage therapy and even Reiki. I'm a Reiki master. I've been giving Reiki for many, many, many years. I want to say over 30 years. And you're always, as a practitioner, you're always grateful to have the repeat business, right? Have people come back and enjoy a nice, relaxing, pain relieving session, loosening up muscles and tension and whatnot. But what happens when you have more pain than you actually bargained for? What's going on? Why? If we understand that our minds are connected with our bodies and our souls are animating through that whole network of energy, if we understand that, if we get that, if we know that, then why are we being inflicted with such pain? Why is there so much suffering? Now, last Tuesday, I talked a little bit about the pain of a migraine. Today, I'm talking a little bit more about the pain that happens in any part of your body. And thanks to Louise Hay, we started taking a look at how our minds and emotions are actually functioning in our body. And that honestly, yep, I'm on board. I'm a devotee. That's what actually started me on my journey in the 80s. That's how old I am. But let's just say that over the course of the years, I have had different experiences regarding not so much, Louise did a great job of honing in on specific things. And I do the same, except I have now expanded my awareness and my understanding as to how and why they started. And a lot of people think that pain is just like a really annoying thing that happens in our lives and we don't have to deal with it and we shouldn't have to deal with it. And it's a chronic issue for some. And those things can be controlled. So here's the thing. And I do believe in pain relief, no doubt about it. There's absolute value in that because you need to function. You need to get through your day. However, given the fact that we all understand and know, okay, it's not just my philosophy. It's a lot of people's philosophy that your mind, your soul is talking through your cells. And I don't think this is news, really, honestly. When someone has a heart attack, you kind of know they've had a rough love life or they felt hurt, in their heart. Something about their loving nature was hurt or somehow not understood or heard. Their truth wasn't spoken, right? So when I talk to people about pain, I very often don't look at the nervous system so much as like the emotions behind it. And this was the whole reason why I wrote Be a Body Psychic, was that people would better and better understand how their minds and souls are working in their bodies. So there's a couple things that you have to understand. First, the body, right, is a roadmap to our lives. Everything we've created in our lives is happening in our body and vice versa. And so when I actually created a mind-body map for a book I'm writing now, it made it very clear how the body relates to our personal relationships, the ages of our life even. We basically, and I've said this before in other podcasts, but we basically grow up through our feet. Our infancy is in our feet, then toddlerhood is like ankles to your shins, from your shins through your knees, it's like preteen years, and above the knees is teen years, then tops of the thighs into the sacrum, right? The hips and the pelvis represent how the force and power and support you've had from each parent has come into a combination and created a nice stable environment for a new life to come, right? So that's the sex organs for men and women. How well we are supported in those relationships relate to our ability to procreate. Now, that being said, when we grow up through the spine, we're growing up through our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, etc. And at each stage in life, we're developing new thoughts and ideas about relationships, about love, about our circumstances, our career, what we want to do for a living, if we want to do this for the rest of our lives, etc. And the higher up through the chakras that we grow, we're actually growing into our spiritual lives, what we want to contribute instead of what we want to get from the world, and how we want to feel like a part of our soul is actually mattering in this world. It matters. The left side of the body, we draw energy in, and I'm doing it backwards. I'll do it your way. The left side of the body, we're drawing energy in, and the right side, we're pushing it out. So that's how well we manage our love and our energy, right? And that happens both through the arms and the legs. Left side of the body, in general, will represent female relationships in different areas of your life. And in general, the right side will represent different male relationships in different areas of your life. So that's a general rundown. And like I said, I talk more about this general life force, or what I call your personal jet stream, in the Be a Body Psychic workbook and the CD that goes with it. But for our intents and purposes today, focus in with me here, people, is I would like you to choose just one area of your body that's in pain right now. What area of the body is it? And is it reflecting female relationships, male relationships, how you're putting your energy out, how you're taking your energy in? Is it about the memories you had growing up, excuse me, that have had now time, right, over the course of years to become more and more solidly embedded in your cellular system, okay? And that's what I was referring to on Tuesday, was that pain timeline, that extension of time where we experience something, but we don't actually acknowledge it in our bodies. It's just a thought in the beginning, but the more we think it, the more we feel it, the more we experience it as a thought or emotion that isn't in alignment, and this is key, that is not in alignment with our soul, with our spirit, with our truth, then the less likely that part of your body is going to maintain strong musculature, supple tendinous connections, strong bone structure. You're going to notice that you're weaker in that area of your body, and that area of your body is going to require more attention over time than any other area of your body. Also, just a little side note, the back of the body, if you're having a lot of experience a lot of back pain, lower back pain, etc. This is what I was featured on the doctors for. You want to do that reverse roll up through the pelvis, and feeling the pelvis tilt very hard toward the spine, and then getting that internal massage from the lower back. But you can also do things for the upper back and the rhomboids, keeping your hands side one on top of the other, lying on your side, and then pushing the top hip and shoulder forward and back will help stretch the rhomboids in the back of the shoulders if you're having problems there. And then, of course, neck stretches for trapezius and suboccipitus and other neck muscles and shoulder muscles. Now, the thing that I want to say here is that when you do identify the area of your body in relation to that relationship or that situation that you're having difficulty with, more often than not, and I will say maybe 10% of the people I've worked with over 30 years have not had great success and relief of pain from this technique. But it's all about being able to speak your truth. I go back to this over and over and over again. This is not a joke. There was a segment on the doctors that I was happy they did post or record or have that segment on and available on the doctors, was the effect of speaking about your emotions in relation to pain, right? Pain management, and how speaking your emotions can clearly and succinctly relieve pain in the body. Now, that is a piece of it. The emotions are a piece of it, but it is not the entire bulk of it. The entire bulk of it basically is your truth. And time and time and time after time again, if someone comes to me for a healing, to lose weight, to gain muscle mass, to take over where the physical therapist ended and continue getting fit and healthy, if I am able to help guide my client into that space, that safe space where they're able to say, and this is just an example, I wish my mother had stood up for me when I was abused. That's exactly what someone said to me. In that moment, she had tinnitus in her ear and that subsided. In that moment, her knees stopped hurting her. In that moment, she took a deep breath and just started crying. But when I tell you that ability, your succinct ability to put into words your personal truth is going to be better than any pain pill that you've ever taken before in your life. But you have to be honest with yourself. Hey, Raul, I'm happy you're back, healing my meditation and manifestation. Yes, and I always say this, meditate before you medicate. Okay, people? Nice. Carol. Who's Carol? I'm Nicole. I'm not offended though. I'm more interested in getting the information out there. So your truth is going to be the best medicine you could possibly not take, but administer for your own mind and body. So that's the bulk of it. If you are aware that there was something in your past history as a child, a teen, a 20-year-old, even in the past, I want to say 2 years, 3 years. Okay, I worked with a woman who was seriously obese. She hadn't gained a whole lot of weight until she started a job about 4 years ago. Her boss was belligerent, very difficult to work with, and made no bones about picking her to shreds, criticizing her in front of other people all the time. Wouldn't you gain a little weight with that kind of stress going in? Honestly, if it were me, I would have been hunting for a new job immediately. Anyway, my client felt the need to stay in her job, and she gained, I want to say, 65 pounds over the course of 4 years. When we were doing a subconscious conversation together, and a lot of this is subconscious, you have to remember, you may in your mind be thinking, oh, yeah, I felt that way when I was 10, but that was when I was 10. I'm over it now. No. See, this is what sets up in your subconscious mind and starts to either create abnormal cells, create tension and pain in the vertebra that are associated with the nerve endings that create pain, or you start gaining weight, or you start creating something else that's diabolical and really, really unhealthy. So the idea is to identify the area of your body in relation to the musculoskeletal system that I just described for male-female relationships and how we grow up through the body age-wise. Each section of the spinal column also relates to different ages. You want to identify that area of the body that's feeling the most significant pain, and then write down your feelings about those relationships. Now, some people will say, I had one client who said, His left shoulder was killing him all the time. And the worse it hurt, the more he froze it up and he didn't want to move it, which was the exact opposite of what should be done. I came here after a long time, Nicole. I'm so glad you're back. Thanks, Raul. I'm happy you're here. I feel kind of bad. Just as a side note, Raul was making a lot of comments on the last podcast, and unfortunately, I wasn't getting them. I don't know why, but I'm glad you're back. Thanks, Raul. I'm happy you're here. So his shoulder had frozen up. My client's shoulder had frozen up, not Raul's. And he was looking for ways to alleviate pain. I was giving him Reiki, but I kept feeling that there was something about his female relationships that really was not on point. There was something off about them. And I knew his wife, manifestation is very powerful. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But what we found out was that it wasn't about his wife. It wasn't about his kids. It wasn't about any relationship that was in his immediate family. It was about his mother's relationship and him. And this is where you have to kind of do a little of research and a little soul digging so that you can nail down that relationship that's bothering you, right? Or the work ethic that's bothering you, or the inability to speak your truth or be fulfilled in your work, or whatever it is, whatever that thing is. And I'm just making things up as I go along. Once we nailed that it was more about his mother, then that range of motion opened up and he was able to lift it slightly without pain. Now, the more he talks to himself about that relationship and starts to move it in meaningful ways, in other words, like, not just to do the work, but to allow it to really stretch and feel its fullest range of motion, the faster the pain will relieve itself. But this is like a little known secret that I don't think many people share, especially pain management doctors and things like that. They're big on therapeutic movements and treatments and injections and pills and topical solutions, etc. But really, the key to pain management, or better yet, pain relief entirely, is your truth. And knowing what that truth is, knowing yourself that well. I will say a lot of left brain dominant. And when I say left brain dominant, you know what I'm talking about. Those logical people, those people who are linear, who are really good at math and, putting things in order and all the things I wasn't, but I'm working really hard to become because it's important. That's an important thing. But when you're so tied up in that side of your brain, it's very, very hard for some people to connect with those emotions. And again, they're thinking logically. They're thinking, I've taken care of this. I've already worked on this. This is done. I don't really need to go back there. This is not me right now. And yet it's working on the limbic brain, right? It's working on the subliminal messaging, the subconscious mind. It's working on all those levels and creating something they don't want. So that's why, whether or not they believe they've resolved those issues already, it's worth their while to go back and just start talking about what they really wanted to have happen in that relationship or that circumstance or that part of their work or wherever their living space is, whatever. Start speaking their truth about it. And it doesn't mean that you're speaking your truth about these things in order to hurt someone else or imply they were wrong. That doesn't matter. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is that you're acknowledging and speaking to your soul and your mind, saying, I understand. I understand why there's pain here because I never had an opportunity to express A, B, C, or D. And now I'm giving myself that opportunity. Not only am I giving myself that opportunity, but I'm going to write it down, and you could do whatever the hell you want with it, right? You could burn it. You could stick it in a journal, just look at it maybe here and there. But the key here is that when you do talk about that problem in your life or that feeling, that emotion that you wish you had, or the support, the love, acknowledgement, or safety, security that you wish you had, just as long as your soul understands that you got it. Because the soul doesn't have a whole lot of other resources to communicate with you with. We're not given those tools growing up. And I talk about this in my Be a Body Psychic course, that, Be a Body Psychic really, started out as a tool to help people grow and develop their own intuition, their own psychic ability. But what it's kind of grown into is this guide on how to live, guide on how to raise your kids. I talk to my children all the time about their emotional status. I talk to my children all the time about, making sure they get the opportunity to be angry. Surprise, get the opportunity to feel loving, get the opportunity to express maybe their fears over something. That's all really important to me. And it should be to you if you're a parent as well. Because those are the experiences that really do create our physical reality later in life. And if your soul is healthy, then your body is also healthy. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Raul. Exactly. And I feel like sometimes like a broken record, like I'm saying this over and over and over again, but honestly, it's like every single week, there's a new engagement. Last Tuesday was 142 engagements on the last podcast I did. And I think there's some validity to that because people need to hear it. Maybe they heard it once a long time ago, but maybe they need to hear it again, or maybe you've never heard it before. At any rate, I sincerely believe in this, and I don't think I would be here doing this over and over and over again if God really didn't want me here. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So that being said, I invite you to go ahead and do a little bit of a body scan, do a self-evaluation, see if there's pain in any of the power centers in your body. And again, you can always text Body-Mind to 33777 and get the body scan download from my website. You can go to my website and check it out there as well. That's free, and that's free. People, again, this is free. There's a lot I want to do for free for you guys, but it all starts there. If you can't identify those areas in your mind and body that are blocked, then it's going to be very hard for you to move through the rest of your life feeling fulfilled, feeling loved, feeling safe, feeling recognized, feeling like you can really speak your mind clearly. And maybe in that moment you speak your mind clearly, you're highlighting something else. Bye. Is that a bye? Highlighting something else that maybe you didn't understand, but now you have clarity on because you had a chance to talk about it. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Please, if you have any questions, you can always contact me at Mind Body Mastery. .org. Or you can also, like I said, if you just want the free stuff, you could text body. Oops. What just happened there? Body-Mind to 33777. And you will get the free download of that visualization that I use for so many people to help them alleviate pain and suffering in their body. If you have any questions about any of this, please, join me, contact me. Oops. I'm going to try again. I don't know what that's all about because it went through, but feel free, to contact me via email or text Body-Mind. You'll have the opportunity to write a note. That's what I wanted to say. Sorry. You'll have an opportunity to write a note to me if you have a question about your own personal physical pain, and maybe even get a little free reading from it. Right? Wouldn't you like a free reading? So feel free to contact me. I'm going to take off now because I think I've talked too long. But go through that body scan, check into those parts of the body that I just spoke about that represent different areas of your life. See if you can speak the truth into them. and see if that decreases your pain. If it doesn't decrease your pain, this is part 2 of it. If you're not decreasing your pain, speaking those things, then you haven't hit the truth of it. Just remember that. The other piece of this is that the less emotional, I want to say, attachment you have to the event or the problem in your life, the better off you are. And this is the only way to do it, is to be clear and precise about communicating that. Okay? I love you guys. You're doing great. Please, like I said, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Nicole's MBM. And, you know, like I said, if you have any questions, contact me through my website. I love you guys.